I hear a bike behind me. Hey, that's the same bike as Tim's.
Hello.
Is that you? Oh,
Chris, is that you?
yeah.
How you going?
Yeah, good.
Where are you going?
Well, I was just going for a little ride into the hills.
So what do you want to talk about, Chris? Do you have anything you want to talk about today?
Oh, you know, the other day I went for a ride on my own, and
Oh yeah.
I just threw the hit up to Meadows.
What, you didn't invite me? Oh well.
Well, it was,
No, don't worry. Go on.
it was during
No,
a
it's
work.
all right. Go on.
I'm
I'll
sure
be
you
okay.
would have been working. It was a work day,
Yeah. All right.
and I didn't have any work.
No,
so,
that's fine.
So sorry about that.
Yeah,
I
no,
should have.
go. No, it's fine.
Well, I didn't invite you today
Oh, no,
either.
don't. Just go on with the story, please.
So yeah. Anyway, I was riding back from Meadows, and I was behind a truck, and there was no opportunity to overtake the truck. So I was just sitting behind him, waiting for an opportunity.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this four-wheel drive overtakes me within my own lane, mind you. You know, just only a few feet away from me. And then, just sort of just sat in between me and the truck.
Just a bit of impatience, do you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very impatient. But you know what, and I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I kind of lost my cool a bit.
No.
And so I was sticking my finger up at the car and beeping my horn.
Yes, that can happen. The only issue with that is if you get too fiery, a bit of road rage could occur, which can end up in a bad way, really. I have had times where people have disgruntled me. I mean, we all have. And there have been times where I should have stayed cooler than I had.
Is this on your bike or in your car?
No. I don't really get upset on my bike. It's in the car mainly. I'm on the road a lot.
Well, you know, there was one road rage incident that I was involved with on my old bike, and this truck was speeding, really quite fast, and he was overtaking me, and just for a few seconds I matched his speed, and that infuriated him. I didn't see where he went after he slowed down. He dropped back behind me, and then all of a sudden he overtook me within my own lane, and that really infuriated me because there was a real lack of consideration for my safety, and he wanted to pull over and have a fight with me. So he was chasing me then, and so that was the only other time I really lost my cool.
I haven't had too much on the bike, but I only ride on the weekends, mate, on the bike. I very rarely commute. And I think you'd come across more of that sort of stuff in the city. Although a few weeks ago when I was on a ride, a car came out of a driveway that wasn't looking at me at all. Didn't look, just came straight out. But I saw him and knew that he wasn't watching, so I prepared for it, slowed down and just left my hand on the horn for a long time. Well, the thing with this bike is it's bright blue and I've got a bright green helmet.
Yeah.
You know, and with the light on at the front all the time. And they still didn't see me, so they weren't really looking at all.
Yeah. One time was when I left my car parked in a Bunnings car park.
Your motorbike?
And I came back out and somebody had run into it and it was lying on its side. So that really annoyed me.
Yeah, I mean those things can happen. However, I think probably the most annoying thing is they didn't leave. I remember you saying they didn't leave any contact details, and it would be difficult to imagine that they didn't know they'd hit your bike.
Yeah.
Because yours is a pretty big bike, and it would have made a pretty big noise.
Oh, it would have, yeah. I've been a little bit more careful about where I park my bike.
Yes, I remember when we went to that pub at Uradler.
Oh, yes.
And I parked my bike initially and thought, no, it's too exposed. So I brought it up next to your bike. And luckily I did, because the car opposite our bikes, she lost control. I'm not sure what happened, whether an older lady, whether she put her foot on the I think she put her foot on the accelerator instead of the brake.
I thought it just rolled.
Oh, it might have just rolled.
Yeah, I think she just parked her car with it in neutral without the handbrake, and it just rolled.
That's right. Yep, she forgot to put it in park.
Yeah.
And it rolled, and it missed our bikes by millimetres.
Yeah.
Now that was a pure accident, things like that happen, but I am careful where I park both my bike and my car. And the kids just laugh at me because my car, it's not a fancy car, but it's a nice car. It's fairly new, and I get frustrated when people open their doors on your car in a car park, and I know often it's an accident and unavoidable because car parks are so small and sometimes the wind catches the door.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. So I usually try and find a safer park, and the kids think that's very funny.
Have there been any other moments that you've been angry when out riding through the countryside? Or maybe not through the countryside.
Not a lot in the city. A couple of people had forgot to look and come into my lane. I might have been in their blind spot. I'm very careful. I try not to ride in their blind spot, but and as I said, those things happen. But a couple of people, they've seen that they've done it and they apologise, and then you don't mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They sort of say, oh look, sorry, didn't see it, and that happens to everyone. I mean, I did it the other day in the car to another car.
Yeah.
Just didn't see them, and I'd looked, but they were hidden in my blind spot. So we all make the mistakes, but I try and keep cool in instances like that. What I really dislike in a car and on a bike is when people tailgate you. They're right up your backside. I always try and keep within the speed limit. One, because it's the law, and two, because I really don't want to lose my license or get a fine and pay money that I didn't need to pay. And the other day I was driving along a 50-kilometre road, and I was right on 50, and the guy behind me was just going crazy, giving me the finger, going nuts because he wanted to, well, he thought I was going too slow, and I was right on the speed limit. I couldn't go any quicker.
Yeah. But by far the angriest I've ever been when we've been riding, and you reminded me of this the other day. Do you remember?
Yeah, when you had your camera stolen?
I think you told me that I punched my bike or something.
Yeah, you got stuck into your bike a bit.
I think that's because I was just so angry at myself for just leaving the camera on the side of the road. And I thought usually it would be safe, but there was I think it was Australia Day, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
I think it was a busy weekend anyway, so there was more traffic that going past than there otherwise would be. And some opportunists decided to pinch my camera. But anyway, You know, a lot of motorcyclists, I remember a while back, they were getting angry at cyclists for some reason. I never understood that. Cyclists have never bothered me.
I really do. The only issue with cyclists, and it's very rare, they're pretty good, they're very good usually, is if you're going up a very tight road and they're riding two abreast and won't let anyone through. But that's not very common. I haven't seen it very much at all.
Do you want to stop for a cup of tea? Well, actually, I brought some Milo.
Oh, Milo?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that.